Hello, welcome to Furious Driving, and here is my little Y-reg 2001 Mini, which has been sat here in the garage for a number of weeks. But like the Alpha, it is due for an MOT, and this time I'm going to show you that I do pre-flight checks on my cars before I MOT them, because frankly, why wouldn't you? Now, after the Alpha failed its MOT, a couple of people said in the comments, why didn't I go and check it for obvious defects? But really, I'd been fully expecting it to pass because I was doing stuff on the car all the time. But I had spent a lot of hours working on all the earths on the front of the car, so all the lights had been working. As far as I knew, everything on that car was functional and should have passed. But the real troubles in your life are apt to be things that never crossed your worried mind. The kind of thing that blindsides you at 4 PM on an idle Tuesday afternoon. For example, the exhaust manifold not being bolted on properly or possibly cracked. That twin sparker's got the raspiest exhaust note in the world anyway, so the fact it's blowing slightly, you honestly can't hear it. And who honestly has ever actually taken their wheels off to go and check their brake flexi hoses before an MOT? I'm pretty sure I never have. But this one though, we are going to make sure is fully functional. I'm certain that all the lights are working, but I'm going to go and double check that. And I'm going to make sure the horn works, and I'm going to make sure it's got good tyres. I know it's got good tyres because they're not very old Continentals. Well, amazingly, the thing actually started, didn't have a flat battery, which is always a bonus with my cars. Here we have functioning tail lights, functioning fog lights and indicators, functioning what do you call them, number plate lights. All that kind of stuff is good. I can't check the emissions, I'm not a garage. Around the front, working side lights, working fog lights. Let's check the headlights at work. Dip beam all good. Let's turn them off. Main beam, good. Bit of a miracle. And if you want to see something truly amazing, check this out. No warning lights on the dashboard. The airbag light was on the other day, but my dad just bought himself a new OBD scanner coder reader thing, like a proper high level one. And guess what? It turns off the airbag light on this thing, and it hasn't turned on again. So I'm going to get this in for the MOT as rapidly as possible so that we don't have it back on again before the next retest. Right, horn test of course. Wow, that's loud in the garage. That's all good. The only thing I'm now worried about is they mentioned visible signs of light corrosion. Nothing to worry about, ton of corrosion on the chassis of this car. And I've not had time to get it on the lift. He just said it was nothing to worry about, and it was back in the car park before I had a chance to look at it at the garage itself. So I'm going to quickly jack this up and have a look underneath it. Now I can't get underneath the car out here in the lockup. I brought a small jack with me. It turns out not to be high enough to get underneath the car and get a axle stand under as well, because I'm not going underneath this thing without an axle stand. So I'm doing a GoPro hunt, which I'm going to explore in great detail once I get back onto the computer. If you spot anything, do shout. I can see that cross member. Oops. I can see that cross member does have surface rust on it. It could do with being heavily coated. I'm going to go from the side in a second as well. Mostly you can't see anything because there's plastic coatings on it and covers over stuff. That might be interesting up there. It just looks like it just needs a really good rust proofing, which I've been meaning to do all year, just haven't got around to it. Looks solid. This is the kind of thing you really do need a 4-post lift for, because I struggle to see underneath cars properly, even on a tall jack. Those rear shocks look like they could do with them. I don't know, that's just paint. Yeah, I think it's just the rear suspension and the rear cross member needs looking at in terms of paint. Now I am aware that this engine mount, which I think is what you call a stabiliser mount, has got a crack in it just there. These are a fairly common failure I think on these cars, but there is no movement of the engine at all, and that is the one that actually supports the engine. It's not going to fall out. That's just a stabiliser thing, so I'll get that looked into very soon indeed, but I don't think that should be more than an advisory on the test. In case you're wondering about the tyres, these are all relatively recent Continentals which haven't done that many thousand miles. They are still fantastic condition all round. And brake flexi hoses, well, I'm going to have to assume they're okay because I can't see them. And the exhaust seems to be held on fairly firmly. There is a limit to how much you can do on the driveway. And this is quite fun. Draper have got this range of drinks can disguised accessories. This one is handy hand wipes, which I'll be using right now. Okay, so I reviewed the footage of the underside of the car at length and have decided on the basis of that it actually looks absolutely fine. It's just a little bit of surface rust that is nothing really to worry about. So the plan is now to take it around and get an MOT on it tomorrow. I was meant to drop it off today and leave it in the car park so they can test it tomorrow. Unfortunately, of course, the airbag light's on because it's a Mini. So we're trying to sort that one out. We have got ourselves, thanks Dad for this, a code scan diagnostic reader machine, so we can try and turn it off, which should work because last time I drove this car a few months ago we turned it off with this machine as well. So naturally, because it's an R50 Mini, and the thing that all R50 Minis do is that no matter how often you turn the airbag light off, the airbag light comes back on again almost straight away. So I've gone and got hold of this, thanks Dad for borrowing this thing, and we'll see if we can turn it off again. Well, it knows what we're looking at. May 2001 manual, model code, all the rest of it. Okay. This has got a lot of errors showing, but it did have a completely flat battery and I had to go and jump start it when I brought it back. So I don't really think it has got a blower motor short circuit or a windscreen wiper. All this stuff was working, so I'm going to clear the fault memory. Multiple restraint system read fault code. Side airbag. Does not correspond to equipment. Okay, let's clear all those as well. Erasing fault codes, operation done. Go back. Short exit. Let's turn this all off again now. Hey, airbag out. So we have now cleared our fault. Excellent. Never fail, no code to the rescue. Yeah! Now, airbag light still off, car fixed. Thank you. What brand code reader is this? iCarSoft, thank you very much indeed. Okie dokie, well, we're in the Mini and we're on the way to its MOT. I seem to do a lot of MOTs, but then I do now have pretty much enough cars to do an MOT a month if you include the dailies. So yeah, it's not something I tend to make a regular fixture of for every single MOT, otherwise you'll get very bored of this, but it does seem to be the annual crunch time when everything comes to a head and all the niggling problems I've let go have got to be fixed, which is why I don't think having no MOT for 40-year-old plus cars is a good idea, because you do, no matter how well intentioned you are, 99% of people will let small niggles hang, and sometimes those small niggles might be worse than you actually imagine they are, so it's really quite good to get them sorted out. I do think there should be a universal MOT for everything regardless of the age. I don't remember when I last drove this car, to be perfectly honest. Parked it up in the lockup, I think before Christmas. It's got to be about 3 months, maybe longer, since I've driven this. It's a shame not to drive it, but I don't want to be driving basically a hand-built pre-production car around in the salt. It's not like I can go and buy another one really easily, and certainly not for the money I paid for this one. I would be paying proper money for them now. They've gone up a lot in value. But the airbag light has stayed off. Everything else appears to be all good. Something I had noticed last time I drove this car, and I thought maybe it was just, something to do with the fueling, or maybe it's old petrol or something. But I've noticed it again today. Between 2,500 RPM, as you're accelerating through that, there's a bit of a stutter. And so I'm wondering if maybe it's a coil pack breaking down or a spark plug that's not at its best. I cleared all the codes on the thing without looking at it last night, which is a mistake. But then I had so many codes from being jump started that I wouldn't have learnt a lot from it anyway. See if anything does show up. Oh, the airbag lights come back on. Okay, I'm going to go home again. Turn the airbag light off again. Okay, so MOT approach take 2. I can never seem to get to the MOT in one go without some disaster befalling me. In this particular case, it was apparently the supplementary restraint right hand. I think it's the seat wiring. It's always the seat wiring on these R50 Minis that seems to be the issue. And I've turned it off again. I'm driving here avoiding any bumps and potholes so it doesn't upset it again anymore. The light is now off again, so yeah, fingers crossed we'll make it there before the light comes on again, Mike. Well, amazing news! We have got ourselves, I can't reach up the seat, a pass! This thing has succeeded in flying through with flying colours the Ministry of Transport test for roadworthiness and safety and not being a death trap. Astonishing for one of my cars, don't you think? It is something of a relief. I can now put this car back into service for the summer months and of course have a car that uses a bit less petrol than all of the others now that fuel is currently at an all-time high. The 1.6 litre is perfect for that. I'll have this car at a few shows over the summertime, I hope. There was a big mini event last weekend which I couldn't make, partly because I was busy, partly because this didn't have an MOT on it. I couldn't get one booked in time. So yes, we can now fortunately get this thing out and about and enjoy driving it some more. So thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this little mini adventure, then please do hit like and subscribe, and join me again next time when we be back in the workshop, either on the 200 VI, the Tourer, or the V8, or I don't know, something else. We'll be fixing a car, doing something. Anyway, nice to see you, take care, see you later everybody, goodbye!